Hello and welcome to the NBA Economy Show. This is Fritz just checking in, trying to give you guys all the vital information. As I said, starting this week, I will have a lot more time on my hands to talk about NBA topics, talk about the Knicks. But I have been sick this week, so I haven't been able to give you the news up until this point. I do want to talk just a little bit about the Trae Young trade. We see that he was traded to the Washington Wizards. It happened very quickly. We heard that Trae May wanted to change. Atlanta also wanted to change, and it happened very quickly. He said the team he wanted, which was the Wizards, top of his list, and it happened very quickly. No picks exchanged, but if we see that it does had impact with other teams. It has impact on the Knicks pick because the Knicks do own the has a first round pick owed to them by the Washington Wizards. So this is kind of the last year before it converts. So if it does not convert this year, it converts to 2 seconds. So it'll convert from it'll convert until the second round this year and the second round next year. So that's actually a nice asset for the Knicks to have. But them adding Trae Young, who's been the NBA scoring champion, Trae Young, who's been the NBA's assist champion, you could see how possibly that can put them in line for more wins and possibly in jeopardy of giving that pick to the Knicks. We kind of seen some indications so far that perhaps that the Wizards aren't going to quite just throw Trae Young in the fire. They haven't said anything substantially, but what they have said is that he has some knee issues and they're going to kind of look him over and see what's happening. We could see a situation where Trae Young is shut down for the year. Let's see how the NBA reacts because the NBA does not like you sitting healthy players. So is he hurt or is he hurt? Does he need to get a little surgery just to make it look legit? This move for the Wizards isn't about this year. Trae Young is kind of something they can rally around, but this year they really want to keep their pick. So could the Knicks? What I've seen in the chat is people just running and saying, "Hey, the Knicks are going to get this pick." I really don't think it's that simple. I think that if they intend to play Trae Young like normal, I think they would make a deal for that pick beforehand. All right. Thank you, Luna Jean. Thanks for joining. Please subscribe. We're certainly on our way. We really want to reach 1K by the trade deadline. Let's see if we can get there. So when it comes to this pick, right now, the Wizards have the fourth worst record in the NBA. And this pick conveys if it falls out of the top 8. And I think people kind of sometimes need some explanation how this process works. So it doesn't mean that the Wizards would have to have the ninth worst record to give that pick to the Knicks. It just means when the lottery balls come down that they have to be in the ninth place. Even if they won a lot more and ended up in 10th place, they would still have a chance of keeping that pick. And how the lottery lottery process works, which a lot of people don't know, is that they only pick 4 teams in the lottery. So out of the teams are in the lottery, they're only picking 4 teams out of there to move to the top. So out of the 12 teams that are there, um, 4 teams are put at the top of the list. So to be in the fall out of 8th, the Wizards have a small chance of losing if they have the 5th worst record. Because if 4 teams leapfrog them in the lottery, that can push them from 5 to 9. So there's that danger there. I think that danger will be with them all year. But even if they got as high as like 11th worst, which is a much better record, or almost making the playoffs, they still, if they're just picked, if they're just, the last team and they're picking the top 4, okay, they're safe. They're not in the top. They're not in the top. They do not have to give up their pick. So it's a little weird situation they're in. Do I see a resolution? Well, at first I said maybe there's a player. Maybe there's a player the Knicks like on their team that they're willing to give that pick up for in the meantime. And for me, that would be, Bilal Coulibaly. A lot of defensive potential. Checks a lot of boxes for the Knicks. So that's an idea. But really don't think they would trade Coulibaly. If they would, I'd be all for it. I'd trade that pick to them and don't worry about it. If it was Coulibaly. But what I think is the resolution that kind of makes sense for both, because it's a risk. It's a risk for both teams. And I don't think they're going to pay the Knicks handsomely to take that risk off the board. But Wizards have another pick this year. And it is for the OKC Thunder. And the OKC Thunder, is has the top record in the NBA. So most likely, they will be the 30th pick in the NBA draft this year. So if I'm the Knicks, instead of getting 2 high seconds, I possibly would maybe want OKC's pick and another second. Not necessarily their second, but another second. So I think a good meeting place for both would be, hey, let's take the risk off the table. Let's not worry about Trae Young, if he's playing or not playing, or where we end up in the seed, or which percentages is. But let me give you OKC's pick. And let me give you a second round pick. Maybe not the high one I was going to give you for the 2 seconds, but I can give you another second in a year you would want. And I think that would be a fair trade between both teams that both teams could live with. I can live with the Knicks having 2 first round picks this year, their own and OKC to play with. So I think that would be a great resolution for these 2 teams. I really think it's a great trade for the Wizards. The Wizards have one guy they can rally around. They have a lot of young pieces, but they don't have an alpha yet. Like, this is the guy. And now you have the guy, and everybody can kind of fall in line. And one thing Trae Young does well is pass the ball. So they're going to have a good amount of cap space this summer. I would not be surprised if they made another trade. I would not be surprised at all. As far as Atlanta, I think Atlanta did good by Trae Young. He has brought them to the playoffs on his back several times, and he has won playoff series versus the Knicks. He's put butts in seats, and I think they didn't need to dump him someplace he didn't want to be, and they sent him somewhere that he wanted to be, and that was a good thing. I think that was probably how the Giannis thing should go, but ATL did that well. C. Cartagena 2262. What about Cam Whitmore trade rumors? I don't think there's any trade rumors with Cam Whitmore. He has what arm thrombosis, so he is injured, and you can't really put a turnaround time on that yet. It's kind of you're ready when you're ready. Also, he's had a horrible year, so I know a lot of people like willing to give Yabusele for anything. But I don't think it's Cam Whitmore. Cam Whitmore, I think hope he gets well, but I don't think that's him right now. I think it's just people talking. Just people just want something to talk about trade, even doesn't make much sense. I think Jeremy Shohan, as I brought up, is a target the Knicks should be targeting. With so many DNPs lately, maybe Yabusele gets it done. Like maybe Yabusele and another player gets it done. So, at the same time, like I just said on the Nick of Time show, Sohan, I don't see playing with Mitchell Robinson, even if Mitchell is a short-term solution, even if it's one and done with Mitchell Robinson. I don't see them lining up well. So I'm all for Mitchell. I'm all for Sohan, but I don't see him contributing a lot for the Knicks. I could see the Knicks trading for him and then playing him 10 minutes and giving Diawara 10 minutes and then kind of just taking that backup role. Other trades, I keep on hearing Keon Ellis, and Keon Ellis is playstyle. Yes, he is a good match. He is what the Knicks need, but financially, Keon Ellis is the type of contract you want to avoid if you're the New York Knicks. It is a hot potato contract. It is the Knicks taking on Keon Ellis at $2.3 million. But he's going to have his hand out this summer, asking for $15-20 million a year. And at the same time, you have Mikel's contract jumping to its number. You have Mitchell Robinson asking for money. Might have to let him go. At the same time, you have Deuce as another year in his contract, but he's looking for an extension. So are you going to give him $15-20 million a year, and then Deuce needs $15-20 million a year, and all of this money is over the second apron, putting you way over the second apron, where to get back under the second apron, you're going to have to give up a big piece. You're going to have to trade Mikal Bridges, or you're going to have to trade a major piece to try to get back under a number. Like, I think that's the part that a lot of people aren't looking at. They aren't thinking beyond, this player is better than what I have right now. I think Keon Ellis goes to a team that can take the cap space. Same thing for Ao Dasumu. Yeah, he's gonna want a bigger paycheck. Justo Wave. I like Deuce, but his value is at a peak right now. Yes, his value is very high. Right now he's extension eligible. If the Knicks want to extend him, this is the time to extend him, and it still won't be cheap. And it would be bad because it would kind of show the Knicks' hand for this summer. Um, but yeah, his high. I think if you're not gonna pay Deuce, if you're not gonna extend Deuce, perhaps this is the time you think about trading him. You think about upgrading up front, maybe. But he is playing so well, and it's just hard to see it. It's just hard to see it. He's just paying. He's just so key right now. Like there's no one else defending like he is. You can't even say you haven't seen Shamit in a while. Yeah, so I've heard some Dosunmu rumors. I hate to call them rumors. Some fans talking about Dosunmu. Dosunmu may be available, but they're gonna want compensation. This is where you're not only trading a player, you're trading draft compensation, and then you get the honor of paying him a big bucks this summer. So I think those are the things you have to think about. I think if you do something like that, you have to think about remixing the team. Like somebody, you have to really think about someone going, like Josh going, or getting rid of Mikal. Like it's not it. Maybe not this minute. It doesn't mean anything, but 2 years down the line, these one of these players has to go. As far as the Knicks, we did see on the 5th, Tosan was let go from his two-way contract. So they did it on that day because beyond that day, he would have been guaranteed a spot. So he'd been guaranteed that 2-way, and we really need to save Dink Pate. So I think the Knicks are going to keep that roster spot open for now. I don't think they're going to put Dink Pate this minute in there, but ultimately, we will see Dink Pate on a 2-way. I still want to kind of keep the option open that in a trade, in a real NBA trade, that we can maybe get somebody in a 2-way that we really probably wanted to draft in the last draft that we didn't get. So if we end up with Phoenix still getting Kobe Brea, who I really wanted, maybe get him on a 2-way in a trade. Well, I just want to update everybody on that. Tomorrow, just talking around the Nick of Time show, we should have a trade special tomorrow. So the Nick of Time show, look out for that. Please subscribe to the Nick of Time show. If they do have a trade special, I will definitely be on the trade special. I like to be behind the scenes, but for kind of stuff like that, when we talk about draft or we're talking about trades, we can talk about money. I definitely try to be on there to get my expertise on that. What would it take from Najee Marshall? Not much, because he has several years of contract. But it will be tough because he makes like $9 million. So just putting Yabu there is not enough. You need more contracts. So basically, trades like that, it's hard to do without Deuce, and it's hard to do without Deuce or Mitch going out. So you either have Deuce or Mitch going out, because if you do it Yabu plus two, you have to also fill their spots on the roster, and that costs money. So yeah, so either Deuce would have to go out the door, or Mitch would have to go out the door, and that would be tough. Yeah, I know the math it's not the most simple of math, but yeah, Deuce or Mitch, or somebody more central to the team needs to go out the door. If there's any subjects you want us to touch on, then on the NBA economy show, definitely let me know. I hope to be going live a few more times this week, talking about Knicks content. I really want to talk about like the value of Deuce keeping or trading Deuce. I really want to collaborate and talk about Mitch, the value of Mitch and trading Mitch scenarios with those players. Also, we've been hearing a lot of people with Karl-Anthony Towns. I've been hearing these Karl-Anthony Towns scenarios. I had a couple of them, but yeah, I think it's really, I really like Cat. I think you're doing something drastic. If you're trading Cat, um, we heard Giannis have his comments today, and definitely we'll have about that. So definitely tomorrow I will go live on this channel and on the Nick of Time show, and then we'll see what's going to happen for the weekend. I thank everybody for joining. Please like, subscribe. Really helps the channel, or support. That's also a thing. Thank you for joining, and I will talk to you later.